we're in bed, and I felt like that was the only time that I had his attention. I felt he
Mm-hmm.
wasn't on his phone, he wasn't TV, he wasn't distracted, or he's
Mm.
laying there, also vulnerable, naked.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
just would share my heart. Oh, this
Mm-hmm.
happened, and I'm just feeling so. And then he would just want to have sex. I'm telling you something heartfelt, and all of a sudden you're feeling me up. Ah,
Mm.
this is Diana, Lonely in Truth, Cassandra's sister. I am with a fellow Cassandra sister, Jody. We're going to talk about something that isn't talked about very much, intimacy with our autistic partners.
Yes.
So let's dig into that.
Let's
Oh,
dig
that
in.
sounded weird.
I love it. But that's the other
Oh,
beauty about your channel too, is you're so quirky and
well,
approachable and
thank you.
personable.
Thank you.
They're great qualities. They're great
Thank you.
qualities.
Well, tell me
Yeah.
more. Oh, thank you. Okay. Uh, so, intimacy. And we know what we're talking about, that three-letter
Yeah.
word.
Yes.
Now, I'm not a doctor therapist, and
No.
you're not a doctor and therapist,
No.
but we will say a lot of times, I will say a lot of times I've always heard that people with autism, the intimacy isn't really there, or the lack of touching or
Yeah.
not wanting to be touched and all that we pretty much understand with autism.
Mm.
And that
Yeah.
many of our partners, husbands, just might not be that
Mm.
romantic. Well, definitely the romantic. I think I can say
Yeah.
sexual
Yeah.
on
I think
YouTube. I'm not sure.
yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Sexual.
Well, so silly. God,
Like being 15 again. Sex.
I know. That's what I was thinking. We're just like little kids. Right.
Oh,
So,
funny.
with all seriousness, I've definitely heard all different sides. The
Mm.
majority is, I mean, a big one is not romantic. You
Yeah.
know, I've heard so many stories about being proposed and they're just like next to you in the bed, hey, you want to get married? Like they just,
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
often there's not that romance. That's the romance. That's not that part of them that's there. And
Mm. Yeah.
we understand why.
Mm-hmm.
Um, a lot of times it's kind of just not there, not the romance isn't there, but even the
Foreplay
intimacy, the
and
foreplay, the all of that's not really there. It might feel robotic, but I've
yeah.
heard that too. It might feel robotic. For me, we were okay.
Mm.
And part of it, I've never talked about this yet. Let me just,
Woo.
I did
Okay.
feel like he was the best I've ever had
Right.
in the
That's
beginning. It was so intoxicating. He was my knight in shining armor. He was just, that is what I experienced with him. And people will say things like, I was his special interest. He went all in. And maybe in the beginning, maybe because it is so hard for them relationally that they just put on that mask, put on everything that has to work.
yeah. Yeah.
And it did. It really,
Mm.
and I'm so grateful for that. I did feel not the norm when I went into the Cassandra groups and I went into women married to men who are autistic. They didn't have that experience. So
Yeah.
I'm grateful for that with my partner.
Mm.
But it did turn into being very scheduled,
Mm-hmm.
very robotic.
Yeah.
And I mean, it took a while. Like we were really compatible. It was really
Mm.
nice. I think the breakdown was when I moved in with him, which again, we hear so often, like all of a
Oh,
sudden,
yeah.
who is this person I moved in with?
Yeah.
And so that's my story. I just
Mm.
dove in and started to talk
Yeah,
about
no,
it.
dive right in.
Tell me
Absolutely.
your,
Kind of.
tell me your experience.
So, you know how we talked about in the previous video that
Mhm.
they don't know how to say hug us or things like
Right,
that.
right.
What I found is they don't know how to do intimacy. They don't, I mean, a lot of guys out there like action movies, and action movies don't teach you foreplay. So
Mm.
I found with my husband, trying to get him to learn that, that was my absolute biggest struggle. and also the
Oh,
killer of our sex life because he couldn't learn it. It was really hard to teach. I'm not a skilled anything, not a skilled sex therapist or whatever.
right.
But yeah, I just found that he just went into the relationship without that knowledge.
Okay.
He just didn't understand you're supposed to kiss and touch and,
Yeah.
do sensual things like that. He
Right.
just
Right.
you just get straight to it. So we had some
Uh,
combats about that, as you can imagine. So that
I
was
bet.
my experience.
Were you able to move past that? Were you able to show him or teach him?
I tried so many different things within the relationship to try and get it to be more sexy and playful and fun. And what kept us going was the fact that I had a libido, right?
Uh,
And so I'd be in the mood even if he'd ignored me all day. When I was
okay.
younger, I could do that, especially when
Yeah.
you're in your 30s and you get to that sort of randy stage.
Yes.
He could ignore me for 2 days and I'd be like, I'm in the mood now, let's do it. And
Right.
that was what sustained us, was me and Frisky. But
Yeah.
as time moved on, that just became harder and harder.
Right.
Got to a point
Right.
where if he's ignored me all day and he puts some moves on me, I feel nothing. I can't feel attached to him. And even
Mm.
worse, if he's been badgering me all day or being negative or critiquing or fault finding and then comes to bed and go, hey, how's about it? Very, very tricky.
It just came to me. There were moments where you're with your partner. This was definitely more so when I didn't understand he had autism. And I was just trying to figure it out. And so I would just do I'll just say normal, lack of a better word, just to do the
Yeah.
normal thing where we're in bed. And I felt like that was the only time that I had his attention. He
Mm-hmm.
wasn't on his phone, he wasn't TV, he wasn't distracted, or he's
Mm.
laying there, also vulnerable, naked.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I just would share my heart. Oh, this
Mm-hmm.
happened, and I'm just feeling so. And then he would
Mm.
just want to have sex. I'm telling you something heartfelt, and all of a sudden you're feeling me up. Ah,
Mm. Yeah, interesting timing. In my case, it was he would only put the moves on me when we were in bed, and I thought this is unusual. Like he's not like foreplaying on the couch or in the car, or he
I
wasn't
know.
very sort of, I guess, creative or spontaneous in that sense.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay,
But
we're
in
in
your
bed.
case,
That's where you have sex.
yeah,
That's what you do.
it was like you come home from work, you have some dinner, you watch TV all night, you go to bed, your partner lies in bed next to you, and this is the time you do it. That was his way of thinking, his routine. Yeah.
I'm so glad we're talking about this because this is a big, huge part of any relationship, obviously,
Yeah.
and marriage is
Yeah.
sex. And you have
Yeah.
to, we don't talk about the lack of reciprocity there and
Mm.
how that is so daunting, where there's
Yeah.
not the foreplay, there's not the hey, the
Yeah.
touch, and how are you doing?
And you kind
And
of
then,
wonder why it's not happening.
yeah,
What's going on here?
I know.
Yeah.
Oh. In my book, Lonely in Love, there's a
Mm.
story in there where they just got married and he's
Mm.
playing video games.
Right.
And she was a hot mama, man,
Yeah.
young and beautiful. And they just got
Mm.
married. And she just felt
Yeah.
like, where is he?
What's
And
going
he's
on?
doing, she was just devastated, obviously.
Yeah.
And that would be
Mm.
because we don't know. And see, that's the part. This is really going into our homes now
Mm. Yeah.
and
Yeah.
saying, no wonder we're so angry and so
Mm.
upset. And
Yeah.
then realizing all this time we're going through that torment, thinking we're not pretty enough, thinking we're not
Mm.
good enough, we're not saying the right
Yeah.
things. All of that
Yeah.
comes in. I don't care who you
Exactly.
are, we're women.
Yeah. I have a friend whose partner is on the spectrum, and
Uh-huh.
they were early into their relationship, and he's on his computer, right? And she walks up to him in some gorgeous negligee, and she has a really lovely curvaceous body. And she's
Yeah.
standing next to him while he's on the computer, and she's like, "Hey, how about it?" And she's like, "What?" She didn't understand at all what was going on. And here she is. She would have felt so invalidated and so unattractive and unappealing. And
Yes. Yeah.
it's hard for her not to take that personally.
I remember one time I just did something just so sensual. And it was almost just he giggled,
Mm.
like just he didn't know how to react to it. And that's
Yeah.
kind of it's cute, but it's not romantic. It's not like just come on,
Mm.
let's have
Yeah,
fun.
yeah.
And But I will say this, all of our time together, 15 years,
Mm.
he's never once just said, "You're beautiful." He's never said it. And I always hear this, "Oh, what?"
Mm.
And there was one time it was how he looked at me. I could just see it in his face. And, he couldn't verbalize it. He couldn't do, but
Mm.
I got to be okay with that. It got to
Yeah.
feel like I could just sense it about him, even though he
Mm.
didn't say it. And so those
Yeah.
people that get so, "Oh, he never said that to you, and he never,"
Mm.
I kind of know. And there's been times where I get ready to go out and have dinner and I'm all dressed up. And then I told him, I said, when I come up to show you my new outfit, you need to
Mm.
say, "You look really great." And then I
Mm.
walked back up and I was told him I'm all right. I said, "So," and he said, "What?"
No way.
And I said, "You're supposed to say something to me." He said something really funny. He said something a line like, "Oh, I know I look so great right now."
Perfect.
Oh, we laugh, but it really is
Mm.
just
In the moment.
I know. And
Yeah.
you laugh about it later, but really it does get old. That is part of our pain, a big part of our pain that we don't talk about either.
Yeah.
We're kind of going all around it. The intimacy, and it's really affected by the autism when you really think, because there's comorbidities in our guys a lot,
Yeah.
but that part of it really ties in.
Yeah.
For him to look at me where I feel beautiful just by his
Yeah.
look, that was
Which is
intimacy.
really awesome. High five to you.
I know.
So good.
Now it only happened once.
It's better than none.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because I've also
Yeah.
heard people say that they find it really hard to want to be intimate with their partner when they're their carer. So there's a whole other aspect of it as well. If you're
Yes.
completely looking after somebody, you maybe stop looking at them as a sexual being, you know?
Yes. Yes. Since we're on this sensitive subject,
Mm.
and it's funny, like I'm nervous, I'm picking my nails. I've heard a lot where, okay, if he acts kind of childish,
Mm.
it's so weird. And that makes total sense. If you're
Mm.
taking care of somebody, like you're saying, it's so
Yeah.
weird. And I remember somebody kind of just freaking out like that. Well, if he's childlike,
Mm.
then I can't be intimate with somebody like that. Can't,
Yeah. Yeah.
what? And because of the mild, it's so mild because he's a man out in the world.
Yeah.
And then coming home to mom, is it weird? Like, wait, we can't wait. You know where I'm getting at this.
Mm.
And there's been women I've talked to just really freak out about that, understandably. The thing
Yeah.
is, he still is a man, and he is
Yeah.
still somebody you're attracted to and fell in love with. And so, if you
Yeah.
can separate the two, and there's been moments I'll say it's just sex. It's just,
Yeah.
there's times where I've detached, and
Yeah. Me
there's
too.
times where I have felt like,
Think where you might be going with this.
but I'm
Mm.
just saying it in a way, it's the feeling because there's
Mm.
not that connection. There's not that intimacy, that foreplay where we're talking about. You
Yeah.
just feel like you're just
Exactly.
having sex and like you said, it's very black and white. It's very
Yeah.
put in that schedule. Okay, this
Yeah.
is when we do this. It's like when we
Mm.
had dinner and then we do this and then we go shopping at this time. And it is from the
Mm.
schedule. It's from the
Yeah.
autism. We talked about staying with them for money. That's not a bad thing. We have
Mm.
to think of that differently. And so it's not a bad thing. If it's
Yeah.
in the schedule, if it's you and him, and
Mm.
there's love there, and that connection is there that you crave. And even though it feels robotic, that's the best he can do. And
Yeah.
he's still there connecting. And there's a feeling you get. Now, if you really feel that, because if you
Yeah.
actually feel that, that's not okay. If you
Mm.
actually feel you're giving of yourself because you have to, or because it's
Yeah.
a duty, not okay,
Mm. Yeah.
not a good
Yeah.
thing. But
Exactly.
just to know, hey, again, this is how he is.
Yeah.
And can I live with that? And if you
Mm.
can't, you make other plans. You do,
Yeah.
you figure it out.
Mm. Yeah.
But it needs to be talked about a lot more because it is a big piece in all relationships and all marriages.
And
sex.
again,
It's
there's a big spectrum and gamut of how it works. You get
exactly
some who are really hypersexual, some who are asexual,
right.
some
Yeah.
who swing both ways and all of the ways and every which
Oh,
way.
yeah.
So there's just so many different,
Yeah.
situations. But
Right.
yeah, look, you've made me think in a different light now, because I was sort of thinking, I feel a bit frustrated with how my sex life has gone, because I really wanted something fabulous and amazing. But then I really need to think of it in a different way, in that he doesn't necessarily put the foreplay moves on or whatever. But if I say to him, hey, let's play a game, he's down for that.
There you
He
go.
kind of will do what I want.
Yeah.
It's maybe once or twice a year, maybe less, because it's overwhelming to him, but
Right.
he will
Right.
kind of do things that I want.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah. And we're not, I know you and I are not talking about making excuses or just kind of having to figure out and having to tell, okay, if you're in this relationship like this, you have to do it this way. It's not about
Mm,
that. It's just the reality of it again.
yeah.
To just say,
Yeah.
yes, you may have to initiate everything. And yes, you
Yeah.
may have to make it a game. Yes, he may be childlike. It's just the nature of it. And if you're struggling, if you're angry, if you're upset, that's not a time to try to
Mm,
make things and force things to work.
yeah. Yeah.
To step back and and truly, because it is such a big part of the
Mm,
relationship, and it is one of the things, and this is too personal, but I did, part of my detachment was the intimacy started to really go away.
yeah.
But I've been able to find it in other ways. I've been able to find that look. It's funny, I think of connection because he
Yeah.
connects with me when he takes care of my dogs with me. And of course, that's not the romantic side, but it's still connection. So you start
Mm,
to enjoy those things more if the other
yeah.
part isn't there.
That's
You
true.
start
That's
to
true.
just, and
Yeah.
it's all about just making sure you're happy.
Mm. Like mine will
Because,
make a nice dish he knows I like, and that's his way of connecting.
yeah, there you go.
Something really simple like that. It's not necessarily foreplay, but
No, I know.
but it's
Yeah.
something that he has taken into consideration. She likes this
Uh-huh.
particular dish, and I'll make her that dish. You
He's
know.
thinking about
So,
you. Oh my
yeah,
gosh. Yeah.
exactly, exactly.
Yeah.
So,
Well,
yeah,
mine won't order bell peppers because on the
yeah,
pizza, he's
mm,
remembered I don't like bell peppers.
yeah,
That's so nice. I just felt because he doesn't remember other things. He knows
yeah,
it's like he
yeah,
doesn't know so much about me. Those very basic things
yeah,
he knows, that intimacy and coming back to
mm,
that when they think about us, when they
mm,
care about us in some way
yeah,
is very nice.
exactly.
It's not a bad thing. Yes, we want
Mm,
more of it. Yes, we want this certain way. Yes,
yeah.
again, we're not going to get it. We're just not.
Yeah, exactly. And I
Yeah.
mean, look, I learned the hard way. I really wanted my partner to learn what I do and don't like in bed, but it was just way too hard for him to, I guess, remember all of it, because it's not simple with me. It's probably not simple with many of us. It's not like I like this one thing, and if you just do this one thing, it'll be
Right,
good. There's a
right.
whole bunch of things that I like and a whole bunch of things that I don't like, and it's overwhelming for him. And he won't
Oh
necessarily
gosh.
say that or even think that or know that he knows it, but
Yeah.
that's what's going on with him. He's like, this is just too overwhelming. I can't keep up with all this. So it's much easier for him to remember a dish that I like than she doesn't like to be touched that way and she likes to be touched that way. She likes
Yeah.
lasagna. Let's do lasagna.
Yeah. Nice. Gosh.
Yeah.
I think the whole thing about initiating it, I do have to initiate, I have to tell him specifically exactly what I need. And that's
Yeah.
also with sex, it's with everything. Literally with everything. When I go back, because we live separately together, when I go back, I
Yeah.
need the puppy pads put down. I need the room cleaned. I need just stuff you do. And it's one thing that I told him. I said, just think of that I'm a guest coming to
Mm,
stay with you. And
yeah.
what would you do for a guest? You want to make sure there's toilet paper and soap.
Mm-hmm.
I gave him a full list. And I remember coming back, he did everything. He did get me the
Wow.
wrong soap. He got me the soap that I'm allergic to.
Oh, whoops. Close but no cigar.
But I thought that was really hard for him. He hates to go
Mm,
shopping out of his
yeah.
schedule. But because I told him to do it
Mm-hmm.
precisely,
Yeah. That's
that
really
is
good.
someone who cares.
Mm. Mm. I wonder then if that would be good advice for people who are struggling with their sex life,
The
to
list.
write a list. Write a list. When we get in bed, I want you to do this and do this and do.
This
I
and
wonder if that would
this.
even work.
I
For
don't
me, it
know.
felt a bit off. It felt a bit off telling him in the moment, admittedly. Like we'd be doing something and I'd be thinking,
Yeah,
oh, okay,
no,
what
you
I
want to
need you to
just,
do is, yeah,
yeah,
yeah. But if I gave him a list, he can maybe pre-learn or pre-remember.
yeah.
Because
Hey,
that's a
let's write that
conversation that
down.
yeah, I used to say to him, I said, look, you know all of the rules about basketball. You can't just go
Uh-huh.
running up to the ring and put a hoop in. You got all these people stopping you. You got to make plays around them, right? I said,
Right,
sex is like that. You can't just go straight in for the hoop. You got to make plays.
right.
And he still couldn't really grasp it. So
No,
maybe,
maybe a
maybe it would
list
help the right lists.
and
Yeah.
very, very specific and just say, and we do this and then we,
Mm, yeah.
I mean, it might be kind of fun for us.
Oh, yeah.
Say,
Writing the list could be.
say,
Yeah. True.
oh,
True.
he can do, it's as basic as I want you to rub my back.
Yes.
We stopped sleeping together in one bed after 6 months
Mm,
because I literally felt he just didn't want me near him. It was this
yeah.
weird feeling.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't know if anybody experienced, leave a comment if you experienced, I
Mm,
don't know why I'm saying leave a comment for that, but no, just the experience when sleeping next to them. I did
mm,
have this very strange experience, and I was just so afraid to wake him because many
yeah.
autistic people do struggle with sleep, and
Yes.
he definitely does. Definitely, the poor guy.
Mm,
So anyway, when I go into his bed, or when just to say, if I say when we wake up, rub my back, I
mm.
need to say it not the night before. He needs to have the list by his bed. It's like when Diana comes
In,
here and
into
lays
the
down,
headboard.
yeah. When Diana comes here and lays down, that's when I rub her back. And then what do we say to women that just say, well, he should know that. Well, he should. But
Mm,
again, he's not going to. Don't
yeah.
take it personal that he doesn't
Yeah.
care and he has to be reminded every single morning
Mm,
to rub your back. You literally do have to tell him each time.
yeah. Exactly.
And yeah, we could try that.
It
Hmm.
is interesting too because we have this idea that they should they should know
Yes.
that automatically. I mean, admittedly, I've said to my husband, for example, I really don't like it when you do X. And to
Mhm.
me, I think he's going to remember that, but he doesn't remember that.
No,
The
they
next
don't
time we're
remember.
doing something, he's like, I'm going to do X. And then I'm
Yeah.
like, remember, I said I didn't like that. So, yeah, I really got to a point where I started to realize that I can't expect him to have all these shoulds. It doesn't really work that way.
No,
You have
no.
to explain to him at each and every turn.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And to not take it personal, easier said than done, but it really is real, that radical
Yeah.
acceptance. It really is the truth of it. And
Yeah.
again, we'll just keep beating ourselves up, beating it, just keep banging our head against the wall,
Mhm. Yeah.
trying to feel like that. I used to go and cry. We'd have a talk where I was just talking and he was sitting there on his phone. And I'd run into the room sobbing and just hoping he would come in and see me, hoping he would come
Mhm.
after me. Nope. I did that for years.
Yeah.
And then I realized it's just he's not gonna do that.
I
And
remember this
so
one time. It's a random
yeah.
story, but I remembered it the other day. It's in the early days when I was living with him and I didn't understand why he was so distant. And he was doing this thing of, I think it was the weekend, and he was ignoring me, just watching sports all day. And I was really, really down,
Mm,
having a good old cry. And I was kind of thinking, where in his house can I go to just have this good cry to myself?
mm,
And I ended up hiding in the cupboard like a little kid, just hiding in the cupboard, closing the cupboards. And I'm in the cupboard. And I don't know how long later, a pretty fair long time later, he
mm.
comes, throws the cupboard open, sees that I'm sad. And I was thinking he might show me some sympathy. And he goes, what the hell are you doing in there?
I knew he was gonna say that.
He thought it was so weird, like who hides in a cupboard?
Oh,
And
but
I just wanted to go someplace by myself.
how
Yeah.
sad that is though. That's so
Yeah.
hard because I it made me think I knew that was what he's gonna say. And it's
Yeah.
that's the thing with Cassandra's sisters. We know the,
Yeah. Exactly. Exactly.
and it took so long.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
and then it just, what are you doing in there? And
Mhm.
mine will say, I would just be in this heartfelt conversation and I'll start crying. And he'll just
Mm.
like it's like he just changes his whole expression. Why are
Mm.
you crying? Well,
Yeah.
obviously because of our conversation, you ding dong. Just so
Yeah.
shocked that
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
crying. And
Yeah.
it is, I mean,
Mm.
it's one of those things. And again, I tell a girlfriend about that, like, he's terrible. That's
Mm.
horrible. Yeah,
Mm.
it's horrible. But
Yeah.
it's still him that is just honestly saying, why are you crying?
Yeah. Exactly. He's just
Because he
trying to
just
understand.
doesn't
Yeah.
know.
Exactly.
And at least he's asking me, why are you crying, instead of walking
Yeah.
away.
True. Yeah. Yeah.
Um, it's hard. Yeah.
Mm. It is.
I think we're gonna do a list.
I think it might be helpful too if anybody does watch this video, if they leave a comment.
Please leave a
Because I'm
comment if you
wondering,
have
yeah,
tips. And
yeah,
keep it YouTube friendly.
of course.
And if you do have a word you want to put in there, that put the little star signs. We'll
Yeah,
figure it out.
yeah, yeah. Because I know that
Wow.
there are so many different things that people are struggling with within this arena.
I
Um,
know.
and I don't know if anybody's ever figured out something that works. Like you're
I
saying,
know.
for example, your sex life was quite good and you were really enjoying it at the start. Um,
Yes.
I mean, that's just so cool. I wonder what it was that he knew that others don't know.
Oh, what did
Yeah,
he know? I don't know.
yeah.
I don't know. It's always shocked me too.
Mm,
But you know how you said that you had a high libido? I think I was just my state of mind too, because it was very, I was kind of in that mood of just, let's just do it, and be
yeah, yeah.
crazy. And a lot of times it'd be going out and we'd have
Mm,
a few drinks. And we were in our 40s. I mean,
mm,
we'd go out at 4 to eat dinner and
yeah,
come back at
yeah.
9, and then we would just
Mm,
have fun. It was very silly. It was just playful. I had so much fun, but
yeah,
there wasn't intimacy. There wasn't
mm,
talking. There
yeah,
wasn't the foreplay. And at that time, I didn't need that.
yeah,
So, not to, I mean, that's the reality of it. So
yeah, exactly.
it really wasn't there. It was just, we just
Mm,
kind of got lucky. We were good together that way. And
yeah,
I
yeah,
felt like it kept us together during those really hard times.
yeah. Mhm.
And that's what
No,
I needed at the time. I had just lost my parents. I was just having fun. He could do that. But as soon
yeah,
as I
that,
moved in with him is when it all fell apart.
yeah. It tends to be when it falls apart. A lot of people have even
Oh,
mentioned getting married and the sex
yeah.
died that night, sort of thing.
Just like my friend she's just got married and
Yeah,
he's just on he's planning, and
yeah,
it's just so daunting and so bizarre for us to wrap our heads
mm,
around because you don't
yeah,
see it. Her story was called not being able to see the
mm,
red flags. And I think I loved what you said in your past video. In the past video we did, I loved what you said about that we're we don't see the red flags, and it's not because there's
mm,
something wrong with us. They hide it
yeah,
that well.
exactly.
And
I don't think a list would work in that case, but I don't know how she would work through that.
yeah,
In her lovely outfit.
no, and that's much
Yeah,
different. So what does somebody do in that
exactly.
situation? It's very hard. And she, just what I know from her story, was with them and it finally worked out where they were intimate. When you think of a wedding, it was their wedding night. He was
Yeah.
burnt out probably after all the day with the
Oh,
people.
absolutely.
See, we
Absolutely.
don't know.
Yeah.
So that's the part when you don't know about the autism,
Mm,
it's so much
yeah,
harder. That's why you and I
exactly.
are doing this,
Yeah.
darn it. Get
Yeah.
the awareness out there.
Yeah. And that
Yeah.
makes sense. He would want the wedding to be finished, come back home, play his computer game to mellow out a bit. She's
Yep.
waiting in bed thinking something else is going to happen, two different expectations.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's so bizarre to us that don't understand it or don't
Yeah.
feel how they
Yeah.
feel.
Mm. Yeah, well, my
Mm,
husband has a window. He's not one that doesn't have one, but he's just very sort of routine about it, which is like
yeah.
we tried parking once. You get in a car and you go drive it somewhere and park some little secluded place, and
Ooh.
he was so nervous and freaked out that he just couldn't
Oh.
relax. He's like, "What if somebody goes past? We're in the back of
I
beyond. It's nighttime," but he couldn't relax.
know.
Just really struggled with it. It's
gosh.
way out of his comfort zone. I guess I'm a bit sort of adventurous like that, whereas he was
Yeah,
like, oh, this is too scary. Random things you find out about somebody.
I know.
Yeah.
I know it's really hard. It's just one of the other things on top of everything else that it wears us down. It's really hard
Mm, yeah.
to get that. And yeah, part of it is knowing, understanding
Mm-hmm.
the autism. But if you don't know,
Mm-hmm.
you don't know.
Yeah.
And yeah, what do you do if they're and hopefully, the whole thing about sex before marriage, I always think it's
Mm,
so important because
yeah.
even though it's as far as what people believe and all of
Yeah.
that is very beautiful. However,
Mm, mm,
and I think, you know, but with us, if we have sex before marriage, we're still not living with them, maybe. It's the
exactly.
living together. If you do so if you live with them before you get married, you'll have an inkling, but there's something about that commitment. And see, I didn't
Mm,
experience that. We've never gotten
yeah.
married. He will not marry anybody,
Right.
which has been frustrating because I wanted to
Mm,
get married a year after we met. Like that was just my
yeah.
thing because I'd gone through
Yep.
this
Yeah.
divorce. I wanted family, I wanted to even adopt a kid. I mean, all of that. I was just had this big, and he was not the person for that.
When did you find out he wasn't the person for that?
You look back and you just think, why was I so stupid? I don't want to say stupid, but I'll say it. You just feel so silly. Like, why
Yeah.
he would tell me exactly what he
Mm,
meant. He
mm,
said, I'm never getting married. I'm too
yeah.
old to have a child. And here
Right.
I was fresh out of marriage. I wanted a child desperately. And here I still stay with
Yeah.
him.
Yeah.
You
He
know,
probably can change his mind,
I think, yeah, you think you like, no, we'll just do it. There were moments though to make me happy. That's a whole nother topic. That's a
Yeah.
whole
Yeah.
nother video
Yeah.
of that. He was being the people pleaser where I'm just going to
Mm,
make her happy and say it. And he still does it to this day. And I always
yeah.
say, you're just telling me you're going to do that to get me to shut up. You're
Yeah.
actually not going to do
Yeah.
it. And then he'll say,
Mm.
yeah, probably not.
There you go. Some
So now I have
radical
this picture.
acceptance right there.
But back in the very beginning, I really was looking for somebody. I had gotten inheritance money and I wanted to
Mm,
adopt a child. I meet him for some reason who has no
mm,
family, never wants to get
yeah.
married, like the worst person. What kind of self-sabotage is that? But again, don't beat myself up. I really didn't
Mm,
know. I really felt like he wouldn't give me definites because he
yeah.
doesn't know what he wants most all of the
Right.
time anyway.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
you can imagine it's so hard just being human. It's so
Mm,
hard to learn when you're lacking some of that cognitive, some of that stuff that has to do with
mm,
some of the autism, the comorbid. He definitely has the alexithymia that he just can't. He
yeah.
can't really figure himself out. Like
Yeah.
we spend so much time trying to figure them out.
Yeah. Exactly.
He just kind of, well, maybe we would go out and we'd see little kids and he acted like, oh, that'd be so sweet. And we'd
Mm.
joke like, let's go take her and stuff, really creepy stuff like that. It's a red flag.
I didn't say that out loud.
Gosh, that's
That's
creepy.
okay.
But definitely a
Uh,
joke because we just see cute little
yeah.
kids. And I would just think that,
Mm.
oh, he wants kids, maybe we'll
Yeah.
do this when
Yeah.
the time's right. Oh no, I
Mm.
never, that's one of my the biggest
Yeah.
pain for me in my life, not to have a child, but
Yeah.
they're so funny. We don't know. And now
Well,
that we do know, we're making the best of it. That's what's important. You
hmm.
make the best of what you have.
Exactly.
Any
Exactly.
last thought about our talk on
Uh, let me
sex?
see. Let me see. I'm just really
Oh,
curious if anybody else there is having a great time to share some tips because
yeah.
I think we
Yeah.
all need some tips on
For
how
the
to make it.
long term,
Mm. Like
after,
when I found out he was on the spectrum, that was when my expectations with regards to sex and intimacy changed. I stopped trying to meet his needs in that regard because I realized that my needs could never be met. It was kind of different for us. It just made me stop because I just realized that he was never really going to quite get it, be able to meet my needs. I never thought of the list thing, obviously, but I just stopped.
I
Yeah,
mean, you had that radical acceptance right away. You really just thought, well, he's not going to meet my needs, and then so I won't try to meet his. Is that what you're saying?
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Sexually, at least.
Sexually,
Nice to be this. Mm.
hmm
And he says, but you can meet my needs even if I can't meet yours. So you still should. And I'm like, yeah, nah, I
Really?
don't
Oh
want to.
gosh.
I don't want to. And
Yeah.
personally, it's made me less frustrated, which is kind of
hmm
ironic. Because, there's this saying this phrase, oh, that woman's really agitated. She needs to get laid. We've all heard that, right? Um,
Right.
Do they ever say that about men? Anyway, once that was off the table, I was just less aggro because I was always frustrated. Like we do
Right.
the funky, and it wouldn't really go the way that I wanted. I want a lot of stuff that I like happening and stuff. But once that was
Right.
taken off the table, that frustration went away. Not necessarily him, but
So it was, yeah, it was just that you created a boundary
yeah,
and you stayed with it, and it gave you that
yeah,
calm that this is what I'm
yeah,
doing. That's the
exactly.
difference. Yeah. Right.
Mm,
Wow.
yeah,
That's really
yeah,
good. That's good because I remember I would do way more for
mm,
him just to feel that connection again.
yeah. And I
And I
was
did
like that in
stop.
the early days, and without a doubt, I was always trying to
Yeah.
do
Yeah.
things that would
It's fun.
entice and inspire,
Mhm.
lots of spontaneousness and stuff. But yeah, you just kind of get, I don't know, over it a little bit. Maybe
Yeah.
you grow in age,
Yeah.
maybe
As
you
you
don't want to give
age.
as much of yourself as you
hmm
used to if there's not a lot of reciprocation.
And I was talking to you, and this was in private, just about going through something where I didn't feel as close or needy or of that sexual intimacy and everything. And the reason I'm bringing this up is just mainly that it took him so long to understand why, because a
Mm,
lot of our connection was the sex. A lot of
yeah.
it was because
Mm,
we'd had it in the beginning, and it kind of would just, and I'd go with the routine because then now I just felt, we're
mm,
just doing this thing and it's okay. And it's still fun. It was still
mm-hmm.
felt good.
Yeah.
And then at that point where it didn't, wasn't
Mm,
as
exactly.
enjoyable,
Mm,
he did feel like I had drifted away. I didn't like him
mm.
anymore.
Yeah,
He was
same here.
so
Yeah.
angry, and it
Mm-hmm.
took 6 months. It really took 6 months for him to understand it. And I'm also bringing this up is because when we get that frustrated stage that we know they're
Yeah.
not going to be able to give us something, it's
Mm,
that same feeling. And I go back to just with the autism, it's going to take him a lot longer to get there.
yeah.
And of course, that's why he got frustrated. And I was saying how he was very kind of cruel, kind of mean to me because he
Mm,
just didn't know
mm,
how to say it or feel it. So he
mm.
lashed out.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I did protect myself. And that's what's really important that we really have to always say is
Yeah.
that whether they mean it or not, and I did move away. I did
Mm-hmm.
just give him that time. Now I'm lucky that I was able to do that. Some of us can't do that. But if you
Yeah.
can't move away to really take time as much away, because they don't mind if
Mm.
you're leaving them alone.
Exactly.
They really don't.
Love and life.
And to remember that it's not you, it's them
Mm.
processing it.
Yeah.
And that's what you're going to do. And, as I'm saying this, it's like, oh, they're telling us, something we have to do again.
Mm.
And it
Yeah.
really is something to protect ourselves
Mm.
during that time where they don't understand, they're being cruel, they're lashing out, and not physical, it's just all
Yeah.
verbal.
Yeah.
And that you have to take care of yourself. You have to
Yeah.
protect yourself from that because even though you can sit there and say, I know he doesn't mean it, I don't, it's in the
Mm.
environment. It's
Mm.
ears, your mind is still
Exactly.
hearing it. You're going to absorb that feeling of that negativity.
Right.
You have to
Exactly.
get away from that.
My husband was similar too. It took him a little while to grasp it, and he was a bit cross about it, a bit sort of agitated. But for him, and probably your partner may be similar, even though for me the sex feels robotic, he thinks we're connecting.
Yeah.
So if I take that away, he feels that we're not connecting.
Yep.
And it's just taken him a little while to get used to his new normal, that we're now going to connect in other ways.
Right.
Mm,
Right.
yeah. Mm,
Hmm. Going back to the whole Cassandra syndrome and being angry and there is a time to be happy and to laugh and be joyful and have fun with other Cassandra sisters. We can do that. We need it.